That's right back, Charlie. That's right.
People deluded, I'm back again.
Come on, Ian, man. Come on.
There's always just that active red flag defending. I think it's like. There's always just that active red flag defending. I think it's like.
And with an introduction like that, what more is there to be said? People deluded, I'm back again. Thank you very much for tuning back in each and every time. Happy Monday, folks. As usual, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and in some cases, good night. Big up to you lot that are on Twitch and Twitter. Make sure you're cross-following on all platforms. YouTube gang, make sure you're smashing the like button on the way in. Any post-Newcastle thoughts in relation to the individual players? I'm sure you lot have a lot to say about Kai Havertz and Kai Havertz up front, Jorginho in central midfield, the partnership of Jorginho and Declan Rice, and what that could potentially mean for Odegaard. So any Newcastle thoughts, get them in. Any thoughts in relation to the game and everything we discuss. What the hell, no YouTube notification. I'm not going to lie, Social James, yeah? This has been going on for years, and I don't know why. And I always say to you lot, make sure you're following on YouTube. Obviously, you've got to be following on YouTube. Make sure you're following on Twitter, because I post all my streams there. Make sure you're following on Instagram and Snapchat, because I do the same thing there. And also check out the YouTube community tab, if nothing else, because I post them there. But I don't know if we've got to do a Discord or get some emails going or something, because YouTube seems to be doing the guys dirty with that, man. So big up to you for randomly browsing. But yeah, it is starting to pee me off that a lot of you lot say that, if I'm honest with you. Big up, Tom, because I think you've become a subscriber recently, but since then you've been part of the furniture. Big up yourself, man. Where will Ramsdale go? It's important for his national team future. I don't know, man. In an ideal world, I wouldn't want Ramsdale to leave, you know. I wish he was happy to just sit it out, try fight Raya, and maybe get an opportunity, because I do think people forget Ramsdale's relatively young for a goalie. I think he will be in a team that will be playing in the Champions League and them things there one day, and he could grab the England #1 spot. That being said, though, I've seen him linked with Wolves. I've seen him linked with Newcastle. I've seen him linked with Chelsea. I've seen him vaguely linked with Man United. That's a myth. Pardon me. For me, I think he should go to Wolves personally. You know, I think respectfully to Aston Villa. Emi Martinez found a good home in Aston Villa playing. He's going to get a move. I think he needs to go there, because I back him to take Sar's spot. And Wolves is a big club doing exciting things as well. If you go to Newcastle, again, big club. We're in the Champions League this season until they went out, got money and whatnot, but you're dealing with Nick Pope. Every now and again, Ramsdale keeps being linked with Chelsea. And again, you'd be in London. I know Chelsea lost the final and people got at them and whatnot, but Chelsea's a big club, you know, which is attached to winning historically. So that would be factors. But then, you know, Kepa's probably not going to stay at Real Madrid. That Petrovic guy who played in the finals done quite well with the injuries. You've got Sanchez. So if you assume Ramsdale went, there's 4 man fighting for one spot. Obviously, typically teams have 3 goalies, but as you know, it's one #1 and then the rest. So it will be interesting for his international future. And if I am Ramsdale, I am, as much as I'm sure he's, you know, a good sport. He loves the dressing room. He signed a new Arsenal deal not too long ago before Raya came in. You know, Mikel Arteta did well to convince everyone of Ramsdale's quality, because not everybody was universally sold on him. At the end of the day, minutes are currency. You want to play in it. You know, the manager, or all managers, have an impossible task of, you know, keeping everybody happy. If life was fair, we'd have a lot less. If the minutes, regardless of what you have to say about the players, or forget the players at Arsenal that you lot don't rate, think about your strongest starting 11, and then think about the squad players that you rate. If life was fair, and, you know, the 26 games we've played so far, assuming everybody's fit, if the minutes would you know, dished out equally and everybody got a fair chance, would Arsenal be in the top 3 at this moment? And the same goes for City and everyone else. If, like in life, you know, if life was fair, we'd all have a lot less. So I don't think there's that. And I do think it's impossible to keep all the players happy as a manager. But at the same time, you know, the manager can, and I'm not criticizing Mikel Arteta for this, but the manager can say he believes in you, etc., etc., etc. It's all about the guys that are playing. You know, if you're not playing, the manager doesn't rate you like that to a certain point. And where Raya is concerned with Ramsdale, it's not like being a left back or right back or any outfield position where, you know, you will get a chance to some degree. It's number one. You know, Raya's played in the key games in the Champions League. He's played in the bigger games in the Premier League. That's the number one. In fact, that was Arteta's first love. You know, we was linked with Raya way before Ramsdale, and we found a good alternative. It didn't bang. 50 million for Ramsdale if he remains in England. I think 35 to 50 million, little sell-on clause. We keep it moving really and truly in that regards, man. So it will be quite interesting to see exactly what happens with Mr. Aaron Ramsdale, man. We hope for the best, though, if I'm completely honest with you. We might as well discuss everything we've got to discuss. Good afternoon, my dude, man. Big up Granddaddy Gooner. What a name. Big up yourself. You seen the Ferguson links. We're going to go over that, my guy. Let me know you lot's thoughts on actually Raya now, because I think he's convinced Arsenal fans. Let me know your thoughts on Ivan Ferguson. Now, Edu Gaspar apparently has responded to Arsenal fans demanding a new striker in the summer transfer window. Edu claims Arsenal have already identified their summer transfer targets following on from calls to support a new striker. Now, that every club should really be dotting I's and crossing T's for the players that they're going after, obviously having contingency plans in place if these moves don't happen. I always say, the vast majority, obviously, the market being open, opportunities can arrive, but the vast majority of the deals or the early deals that clubs do, or the first one through the door, typically, you know, you have, you know, for Edu and Arteta, they probably indirectly had dinner with the players that are signing for Arsenal in the summer during the October, November, September months, and already doing stuff like that. You know, it came out the other day, you know, Zinchenko and Gabriel Jesus, Arteta mysteriously going to their house months or weeks before they signed for Arsenal. So that's just basic competencies, and if anyone really understands football, watches football, that should be a thing. Mikel Arteta's side have faced criticism at times this season over their lack of a focal point in the side. Although since the start of the year, they've scored 25 goals in just 6 Premier League games. So that's a twofold for me. Realistically, you know, we can score goals. Goals are spread out all over the team. And I don't think people are wrong. But at the same time, me personally, and I welcome everyone's opinions, I think you're kidding yourself if you're an Arsenal fan and you genuinely, in your heart, don't believe we need a striker, because there's a lot of volatility. Saka is borderline world-class, if not world-class. He's the only one out of the attackers I would define as a goal scorer, because he's doing it this season and he's done it for the last 2 years despite being 22. Odegaard, wonderful player, shouldn't be judged on goals and assists, has the capacity to do that. But last year, he was finding his feet in that regard. Hasn't quite as been prolific. Martinelli, we know. Trossard can score goals, but he's not a bagsman. Jesus has a lot of qualities. Goal scoring is probably the one mediocre aspect of Gabriel Jesus' play. So we do need a striker, man. We do need a striker. We do need a striker. That's what happens, Social Jones, man. That is what happens. There's a lot of things that go on in that regard. So I do think we need a striker. I am a bit mixed where Ivan Toney's concerned. I think he would be a good option. I definitely wouldn't turn up my nose at Ivan Toney. I would like to go for someone a bit better, if I'm completely honest. But I don't think it's that deep if we don't get him. But anyways, Arsenal were linked with a move for Ivan Toney in the January transfer window. However, Brentford's 80 million asking price was high enough to put off interested clubs. In the wake of their 1-0 defeat to Porto in the Champions League this week, Theo Walcott urged the club to make a move for Toney at the end of the season. Boy, I mean, nobody cares what Rio Ferdinand had to say, but allegedly, Edu said, I understand what the fans are asking for, but we already have our ideas, our targets. We plan a lot ahead of what we're going to face. I'd be worried if we're not scoring a lot of goals, if we're not creating chances, which is the opposite. I think we're creating a lot, we're scoring a lot, which is true, but City was scoring hella goals. You know, did they necessarily, away from the unique thing that is Haaland and the opportunity of a generational striker, they were winning bare things without Haaland. They still wouldn't have signed a striker. Really, you know, they I would say key things for Pep. He moved away from the inverted fullbacks to a certain point, and he got players that were stronger 1v1 in defensive actions, which I hope when Timber gets fit, he displays that and whatnot. And yeah, they got a striker. Goals win games. Sometimes we're just going to need one of these guys to score goals. And, you know, for the large part of the season, we have been scoring goals. We do have the capacity to score goals. But when you hit that blip, what's going to happen there? Sometime, you know, had we have had a striker, it's not as simple as this, but had we have had a striker, maybe the 20 million chances we had at West Ham at home we might have scored. And in moments like that, and ultimately goals win games. Goals can turn some defeats into draws, some draws into 3 points, more points on the board. And where you look at, despite all of this, the points we've dropped, our concerns, our praise for the team, you look at where we're at in the table and you can't help but think, what if we had that edge? Because what is the edge we have on City and Liverpool? Like, generally, I'm not trying to belittle Arsenal, but what edge do we have on these guys? Because we need them, you know, I would say an indirect edge. Liverpool are down to their bare bones with injuries. City are City, and they are getting results and scraping through, and you still have to respect Man City. But, you know, when they played Bournemouth, Newcastle, there's games where it went either way. What do we have, and what edge have we got? We ain't got the experience edge, both in Arteta and the players. We don't have the littered quality. We've got some players that can match up, and on our day, we can give everybody a game. But we now need to get our own edges, as well as obviously controlling the controllables, man. Like, we do have an exciting crop of players, an exciting manager. There's stuff to get us to a place, but now it's about just that final push or those couple percentages that make the biggest of difference, in my opinion. But I don't think Edu is wrong where he said, you know, if we weren't scoring goals, which the sun is shining now and has been shining this season, had you come out in December and said this, maybe we're looking at this differently. The plan is to every year to try to get better. I think we're in a good moment, and let's see if we can keep improving. He then said, to be fair, there's a lot going on at the moment. My role, I have to look after not only the first team, also after the women's team and the academy as well. Of course, now we're starting to plan ahead for the summer on recruitments. Yeah, a lot of things are happening, and we're really enjoying. And I'll be enjoying because I think there's going to be a number of youth signings. I think there's going to be a number of exits, and I think there will be, you know, some difficult decisions, really and truly. The defense seems more relaxed with Raya. That's all I need. Love Ramsdale and didn't want Raya, but he's won me over. I mean, that's all you can say, innit? The game's the game. If Raya's convincing, I'm still yet to be wild about Raya's goalkeeping, traditional goalkeeping, but in terms of the distribution, you know, he looks more comfortable in himself at Arsenal Football Club as well now, because one thing I think was harsh to Raya is, obviously, Arteta's the guy, you know, that's why he's paid to do these things, find improvements where we don't think are none. But I don't think Arteta helped himself with the language around Ramsdale and Raya. Obviously, to us fans, Ramsdale's been a key player. He signed a new contract. Raya's come in when we're close to FFP. I do think there's respectfully to Brentford, playing for Arsenal's a different thing. I do think too many camps were set up where Raya versus Ramsdale and everything was scrutinized. And I think kind of because we moved away from that talking point, and people, even Ramsdale's own dad was talking, he's probably accepted, you know what, Raya is the guy now. So I think Raya is looking a lot more comfortable with his teammates, man. We all know football is about relationships, and we saw that against Newcastle. Jorginho and Rice together in midfield, it's more of a cohesive unit. You getting, you know, is there any coincidence Rice is going out there, Kirill and Martinelli are playing well, Kai Havertz has been, you know, you alleviate asking him to build up play and you let him press and just be a free spirit, and he was involved in Saka's goal. Obviously, he scored off his own back. These are the things we need to do. You look at Saliba and Gabriel, Benjamin White moving to right back. Football's about relationships, you know, the wingers and the defenders, the midfield and whatnot. And Arteta says it, you know, our first attacker is Raya. You start the moves. Our first defender is the striker in the 10. So, yeah, man. Raya is like Kai. I'm not sure. There's mad spelling errors there, man. They're just there. Nothing we can do. Fair enough. Would you be happy with a striker that is bubbling under, knowing what you know about Arteta's confidence building capabilities, i.e. Kai Havertz? No, not really. I know not everyone's going to be Declan Rice and sign for 105 million, and I'm all for Mikel Arteta. You know what? I might not have been for the signing of Kai Havertz. I still think the jury's out, but he looks relatively comfortable. If you're just going to be this, sign me a left 8, but if you're going to be this multifunctional guy and there's some conditions where we can get the best out of Kai Havertz, I accept it, and I'm all for projects. But I want us to get players that are relatively rounded. Like Declan Rice has arrived at the football club relatively seasoned as a central midfielder. Of course, there's other aspects being brought into his game. I think we need people like that, man. I think we've got too many projects. You know, again, I'd say Smith Rowe, Reece Nelson, Eddie Nketiah, or Fabio Vieira, Kai Havertz. You know, they're all Kirill slyly even as well, even though he's finding his feet. They're all projects of sorts. We need some confirmations, man. Can you now see why Arteta changed the goalkeeping position with Raya? Not vaguely, because, you know, Raya, I don't think Raya is way better than Ramsdale. Like, it's not like you signed Alisson or Van der Sar or Petr Cech in his prime, but I understand across 90 minutes, I think Raya's temperament is probably a lot more calmer than Ramsdale's. His distribution is clearly better. His consistency in the distribution. So I understand if that's what Arteta wants, then, yeah, man, that's what we're running with, really and truly. But yeah, if we're signing a striker, fair enough. If you get a Sesko or Ivan Ferguson, these kind of guys, they're not seasoned vets, but you know what they are. I don't really want these players that, you know, can play everywhere, but you don't know exactly what you are. Because that's the maddest thing. While Kai Havertz, we don't really care about the 65 million anymore. He's finding his feet. What are you? Are you a central midfielder? Are you a striker? Now, for me, you're a multifunctional kind of guy, and you still got to be able to play one place, if I'm honest, man. Who's Ramsdale's replacement? I mean, we're going to go over the articles in a sec. Hasn't Arteta signed like 50 goalies? He needs another one. He's going to need another one, bro. Ramsdale cuts. Who's the number 2? He's going to need to. But who is he signed? I mean, what? Matt Turner, Matt Ryan, Raya, Ramsdale, Runnison. Don't know. Someone at the football club needs to own up for that one. That one there was mad. That's 5. There must be a next one. Who's better, Raya, Ramsdale? I think they're all in the same block, same bracket, man. Like, I like Raya, but if it was like a game like Anfield away, where Ramsdale's going to have to be under consistent pressure, I'm going with Ramsdale. If I need a calmer head, I'm going with Raya, because I think Ramsdale's concentration isn't necessarily the best, you know, especially when he's unwinding up the fans and that. But I like him, man. Yo, Marco. Afternoon, DG. What do you think happens with Kieran in the summer? Does he stay as a squad player, or do we sell him if we can get the right price and we sign a backup centre back? It's a difficult one. I think he stays and be a squad player, man. And, you know, I'm sure he wants to play a lot more, but if you can't show that you're better than Gabriel, or, you know, what Arteta demands from a Zinchenko, from a Timber, from a Tomiyasu at left back, then just show that you can be relied upon, because next season, obviously, we've not got over the hill, but we know we were just in the Premier, the champs. There were times in the winter months where you was thinking to yourself, boy, it'd be nice for Gabriel, Saliba, Benjamin White to kind of be pulled out of the team and being rested. So I'd say that's something. But then at the same time, you know, if Timber, Tomiyasu come back, if Arteta isn't convinced wholeheartedly on Kirill, being linked is not obviously leaving, but he's still got interest allegedly from AC Milan, Napoli, Roma. Might just be able to bring your money back. And when you look at Arsenal's outgoings, players can bring in decent fees, but we're not accountants. Who's really going to move the needle? Because we're not selling no one for 100 mil. You know, the Declan Rices, the Sakas, the Odegaards. We obviously want Salibas. We obviously want to keep these players. But, you know, Tierney, don't know what's going to happen. I rate Tierney highly, but there's got to be a reason you only went on loan. Maybe a loan option was all Tierney was committed to do. Maybe the fee Arsenal wanted, teams didn't want to play. You know, Smith Rowe, you're definitely not going to get any real money for Smith Rowe that you could have got a few years ago. Reece Nelson, I don't expect him to bring anything. It's going to sound crazy, and maybe not in terms of ability, but when you deep it, you know, Eddie might be able to bring you a 35 million quid. Ramsdale, that's 35 to 100. You know, Kirill, 35 to 100, 35 to 50. Kirill, that's 30 odd. You're bringing in over 100 million. Now, we know it's not FIFA and there's a lot of moving parts, but we're going to have to get a move on without going. Obviously, you've got the Lokongas, the Tavares, etc. I say it every year, but, you know, Edu and Co are going to have to earn their money, essentially, man, if I'm honest. Can't rely on Eddie to get a fee, just terminates contracts. The termination contracting has to stop now, man, if I'm completely honest with you. Where are we going to, like, it's long now, man. It's long. It's that... I understand the necessity of having to do these things at times, but it's long now, man. Like, it's a bad precedent, if I'm honest. Kirill out of the subs is the most improved player. But even that, Kirill's playing and he's looking confident. I'm not dissing him, but are you playing because Arteta thought, let me give you a chance, or is it out of necessity? Let's be honest. The last couple of games we've won, I'm not stressed about nothing. But if Arteta wanted to pick Jesus, Partey, Timber, Zinchenko, this guy, that guy, he can't. So I like the squad and it tested the squad, but if you're in the squad, Arteta has to believe in you. But yeah, big up DG, need to tax the outgoers. Yes, we do, man. If you're a Prem club and you're trying to sell, it's difficult. Most of Europe don't have money. Exactly. Exactly. And I don't think half the players linked with moves away. I don't think anyone expects big money for these players. You think Arsenal last season still finished second with Raya playing over Ramsdale? Nope. Because I don't think it's just down to Ramsdale or Raya, really. I think collectively we didn't show that required bit of maturity to control our emotions at the last stretch of the games, where obviously we bottled the lead against Liverpool. You lot saw what happened against Southampton and West Ham. And there was also some fine margins. Southampton away, Brentford at home, VAR or not. These games you have to win. We're now in that scenario where we're doing very good, but the Prem is harsh. Definitely if you want to pick Liverpool and City to the league, every point counts and the margins get harsher in an ideal world, there'd be no Liverpool City. It isn't fair, you know. Arsenal deserved to win the league last year, but, you know, there's some serious bullies out here. So, yeah, I think Arsenal are getting to that scenario where it's not in, like, we need to be winning. And I'm not saying this to say Arsenal are the biggest and baddest team in the league, but I genuinely feel there's only been a handful of times this season we've been genuinely outplayed. Like, off the top of my head, West Ham in the League Cup, outplayed, no positives. Fulham away, outplayed. Other games, we've shot ourselves in the foot or showed certain naiveties. Now, I think Newcastle away, we was very good, but we didn't create. Ultimately, if you're not creating, you're not going to score. Aston Villa, we deserved to win, but did we create any really chances or take the chances that we had presented? So how far does it go if I say we deserve to win there? Obviously, West Ham, we had a million chances. You saw the scoreline. It's these kind of results that we need to pattern up. Fulham times two, you know, Fulham at home, we shot ourselves in the foot. Chelsea, obviously, we salvaged the draw, but I always believe, you know, if we played to the Chelsea are weird because they tend to turn up for the big games this season, be crap in the others. But if we turned up from minute 0, how we played after the 60th minute, maybe something better at Stamford Bridge, shot ourselves in the foot against Spurs, and we know these things happen across a season. It's football, but you get where I'm going. DG, as fans, assuming that Zubimendi comes to Arsenal playing as the number 6, could he potentially be the new number 8 at Arsenal? I think nowadays, I think we have to get away from this scenario of just having an 8 and a 6. I think Arteta is going to have 2 kind of functional players that do a bit of both and just rely on common sense. Because I think in football, we get a bit hung up on these roles. Obviously, you know when you need to defend. You know when you need to pass the ball forward. The way Arteta was hugging Kirill, you can tell that he feels something has clicked with the defender. I said it once and I say it again. For all of Kirill's good or bad, smash the like button. People are doing quite poor there. I think a bit like Lokonga, it's a confidence thing with him. He looks like he's lacked confidence, and confidence is key. Now, with a run of games, obviously winning, we're doing what we're doing. He's come a long way from getting hooked at Fulham away at half-time, terrorised against PSV, not really pulling up any trees against Luton. He's had some good games. Now, you weren't exactly tested against Newcastle defensively, but you did your thing, man. You did your thing. Ben Jacobs has said, we still can't rule Arsenal out in the race for Oshimen. It's also true that PSG have Oshimen very, very high on their list. I'm still told by sources that Oshimen's priority is the Premier League, which is encouraging for Arsenal and Chelsea. He'd be looking for about 250k per week, which Arsenal, Chelsea and PSG would all be happy to pay. So he'd be up there with Kai Havertz. I mean, I think Zubimendi's a calm passer. I don't think he's the best passer I've ever seen in the world. But yeah, would you take Bailey from Aston Villa over Neto? I mean, he's Jamaican, so yeah, but I'd rather Neto. But then again, you look at the injuries. Pardon me, Oshimen clear to PSG. Sell Eddie, bring in Mika Berev, sign a top striker, maybe Oshimen go into the next season with Oshimen, Jesus and Berev. I'm not going to lie, big up Mika. But Gooner, I'm screaming sell that, you know. I'm screaming sell that. I'm screaming sell him. A bit like what we, rightly or wrongly, we did with Balogun. Like, if you're, I'm screaming sell Mika Berev and Lokonga. You are 2 players that are relatively shining on loan. Just get some bread, get a sell-on fee. Every little helps. Let's keep it moving, if I'm honest with you. I like Mika Berev, and you shouldn't judge a striker very young. But looking at the dynamics, realistically, it's a man, and he has had some injuries. But this is the first time you've been prolific, and obviously you don't know until people get chances. But we want to sign a big boy striker. We have still got Gabriel Jesus. Arteta has the Trossards and Havertz to do his little madman things from game to game. Probably it's not feasible to think my man's going to get a real run in the team. When are you, young players need minutes and you need to take your chances, which is a double-edged sword. But when is he going to get 5-10 games? Like, Mika Berev don't make us closer to winning the league. And I'm not trying to diss him. I'd love him. I'd love to be proven wrong. He comes back in pre-season, starts. We're all thinking, where the hell's this guy been? But it's a myth. You deserve nothing. You leave for 93% just to throw it away when teams got a bit hot. And that's the thing. Winning the league, it's not good enough to say coulda, woulda, shoulda. We won the game on field tilt and XG. Bro, man, need to get the goals, bro. That's where we need to go to, man. Eddie offers nothing. That's it. We should have sold him when we could have got a decent fee. What did you think of the Carabao Cup final? Limitless. It was horrible, bro. Like, it was horrible final, man. One of the worst in terms of football quality. Big up you like that was here. But in terms of football quality, in terms of the group chat, with you lot, amazing across Twitch and YouTube. Very entertaining. The football, horrible, man. Like, horrible, man. Like, how many times did we see, like, especially even from Liverpool slightly, like, how many times was the ball in the box and it's hitting people's ear and nose and ears and all these things, and it's not going in the back of the net? VAR ruled out 2 of the goals. Must have sucked to have been a Chelsea fan with the Van Dijk late header, but horrible game, man. Big up Liverpool, though, because they're down to their bare bones. They're bringing on all the kids, the regens. It's messed, but some of them young guys might not ever be seen in a Liverpool shirt again. But they created some fantastic memories for themselves and their fans, man. But horrible. So, yeah, that's the Oshimen stuff. I don't think we're getting in, people. Allegedly, Chelsea and Arsenal remain in the race for Oshimen, according to Ben Jacobs. Don't know if he's the most credible, who claims the striker's priority is a move to the Premier League. But when you've got Chelsea, PSG all involved, anything could happen, people. 250 grand a week. It's a lot of money for us, but I can't imagine, you know, if you're Arsenal, if you're Chelsea, if you're PSG, that you're bulking at that. That seems quite well. I do wonder for the wages, though, because obviously you've given several players new contracts. Declan Rice and Kai Havertz can't be on the cheap as well. You bring in Oshimen, that's 250 grand. You know, you probably have to look to move on a Thomas Partey and things that, but they're probably going to move him on. The wage bill is a bit mad. I wonder if Edu can make over 100 million sales. I hope so, but as someone said, there's a lot of dynamics. You know, when you're selling something, you tend to, as humans, overvalue it. We don't really have the best reputation for selling. We have done 1-2 good deals, but we don't have the maddest of reputation for that. Assuming the interest and the willingness from these players to leave. I think when it comes to selling players, you know, obviously in theory, if a team don't want you, need to leave. But there's a lot of things. Look at Cedric. Cedric's got no real reason, and he's still playing for Arsenal somehow, to depart before the end of his contract. He's not getting the, unless he goes Saudi, he's not getting what he's getting at Arsenal elsewhere. He's getting his loyalty bonus because he's fulfilled the contract. Lifestyle point of view, you know, he went on loan to Fulham, you know, and he's been at Arsenal for a while. He was at Southampton, but that isn't that far from London geographically. So his family and his kids, they're probably comfy here. And as we know, arguably running down your contract can make you more attractive as well. So yeah, these are factors. I think we need 2 elite signings in the summer, 1 midfielder and a striker. Probably need a winger, midfielder and defender who can push others in the squad to a higher level. I'd be for that. I want 2 central midfielders. I'll probably just accept 1. Outgoings are a must if we want those top players. Can't be too attached. And that's the thing, like, there's a lot of players. You don't know if they're going to be at Arsenal or not. Like, I think Partey goes, Jorginho stays. We bring in a midfielder, and maybe someone somehow covers another kind of midfield role, really and truly. But you could say, like, Jorginho might say, I want to leave. You know, I love being here. You know, because we didn't picture Xhaka leaving. Like, you know, he's doing his coaching badge. He's clearly favoured. But he might say, I want to go back to Brazil. I want to go Italy. There's a Saudi payday. Partey, it all depends on the offer and if people are taking on his wages and that. So there's that. El Nene's probably gone. You know, you probably need to move on Lokonga. Well, you need to move on Lokonga. I'm sure he's a quality player. But, you know, you being a Belgium lad, you know, coming from Anderlecht's academy, one of the best in Belgium, labelled the next Yaya Toure from Company, respectfully to Luton. If you cannot stand out, you know, in a glorified championship side, there's issues. Sell that. Tavares, easier said than done. That's assuming we're able to even get these guys gone. Eddie Nketiah, he's wearing the number 14. Arteta rates him to a point. He is in the first team. He has been capped by England playing for Arsenal. Maybe he doesn't force the ball out. I believe him and Reece Nelson they need to go somewhere they're realistically going to play, but who knows? But yeah, man. I think we've gone over this Oshimen stuff already, but I'm still told by sources that Oshimen's priority is the Premier League, which is encouraging for Chelsea and Arsenal. He'd be looking for around 250 grand per week, which is Arsenal, Chelsea and PSG would all be happy to pay. So we'll have to see how that develops from one striker to another one. Allegedly, Arsenal are keeping tabs on Brighton star Ivan Ferguson ahead of the summer transfer window, sources have told Football Insider. It's believed the Gunners are looking at multiple central forward targets, which they should be, who could slot into the team from the start of next season, and the 19-year-old is among those shortlisted. Maybe Arteta wants, you know, I want to keep playing Jesus and all them things, but if I have a Sesko or Ferguson, someone that, you know, is going to need to be developed, maybe they can rotate in and out of the team. I would like a household name, but I think Ferguson could become a monster. I think the same with Sesko, but again, they're going to have to develop. So I sound like a bit of a hypocrite because I'm saying we need to get players that are not projects and players that can hit the ground running, which I'm not saying these guys can't, but they are projects essentially. But they tie into the long-term project the club is doing. And at 19, you present sell on value. But we all know Brighton, every sell they make, they get richer. They've done it well. And we all know Premier League clubs got money. He's not leaving cheaply. And I'm not saying Ivan Ferguson is not worth the money, but when you're hearing 100 million, is his record even 30 like that to be whatever? Because Brighton are struggling really by their own standards, but he ain't making too much noise for all his quality. I'm having him though. I'm having him. And Arsenal fans, we've seen in the last couple of years, he played against us and done quite well. Arsenal have been widely linked with a move for Brentford ace Ivan Toney, but this is far from a done deal, and he has many suitors. And it all depends with Toney. Every article you read, we moved away from him, we're still on him, bloody, bloody, bloody. It'd be interesting to see what happens with young Charlie Patino. The North London High Flyers are assessing alternative options capable of fitting into Mikel Arteta's started lineup. I mean, that's just basic competencies. Talent spotters at the Emirates rate Ferguson very highly, with sources telling Football Insider that they regard him as a huge talent capable of playing in the Champions League and developing into a world-beating number 9. So yeah, big him up really and truly, man. But he's under contract for a while, people. He signed a 5-year deal last April, and then seven months later signed an improved deal until 2029. Boy, so it's going to cost a lot of money. And will Arsenal say at this moment in time, not for what he can be, because I've got no doubt for his quality, but if they're asking for 60, 70, 80, 100 million, at that moment in time, is he worth that? I'm not sure. Arsenal are still being linked with Juventus attacker Kenan Yildiz. Big up the Turkish fans locked in. According from a report last week, Arsenal are interested in signing the 18-year-old forward, and they're willing to pay 34 million for him. I like him, I like his technical level and his versatility, but I'm no religious follower of Juventus, so people know more than me. However, a report from The Sun claims Juventus will demand 51 million for the talented young attacker. Should we try Vlahovic again? Smash the like button if you haven't, people. It'll be interesting to see if Arsenal are prepared to break the bank for him. The 18-year-old is a prestigious talent with a big future ahead of him, and it's no surprise that the Italian giants are demanding a premium for his services. Yildiz has the potential to develop into a world-class attacker with the right guidance. The technically gifted forward is versatile enough to operate as a second striker as well as a winger, so that fits what Arteta wants. He'll add goals and creativity to the Arsenal attack if he joins. Again, you've got to remember he's 18. He's only been in the first team this season. He scored 5 goals across all comps. From what I've seen, I like him, but we're going to have to give him time. Talking about existing players. Now, me, people, I don't know about you, I'm bored with Thomas Partey being fit. I love the guy as a footballer. Think we need him. As much as I love what Jorginho did against Newcastle and when he comes into the chess matches, if Partey is able to get fit, I think we're at the point of the season. One love to Kai Havertz, but I'm starting to believe, Partey, Rice, Odegaard, Havertz, if you're playing super sub or play up front, let's move in it really and truly if we're to have any opportunity of winning something this year. So I'm kind of bored with Partey, and Zinchenko picks up a lot of injuries as well. Zinchenko and Partey are planning to step up their workloads this week in the hope they can make the squad for Arsenal's trip to Sheffield United, which is next Monday. So a week today, people, and we will be doing a watch along obviously around then. The Gunners are travelling to Bramall Lane this time next week, with Partey and Zinchenko eager to make their comeback. The pair were close to making the squad for Arsenal's 4-1 win over Newcastle on Saturday. And I'm kind of happy that Jesus didn't come off the bench. I'm happy that, I'm not, because I like to see Jesus, but he got on the bench, he didn't play. So obviously you passed the fitness test. You're going to have another week session. Hopefully these players not only get back fit, stay fit, because these lot are frequent offenders. I think Zinchenko's one kind of goes over under the radar because he's a bit like Reece Nelson. They pick up these 1-2 weeks and then they're back, and then a couple months they do it again. Suddenly you've missed a whole month for football, or even more in May, really. And Jesus, I don't know what's gone on since you signed for Arsenal. You've been picking up these knocks really and truly. Well, obviously, one wasn't in an Arsenal shirt. Did he not get injured at the World Cup last year? So we can't really hold that one against him. But yeah, people, Partey's been out of action since October. Imagine, think out loud where Arsenal was in October to now, or the many talking points. Wow. After injuring his thigh, but he was able to take part in training last week. Zinchenko has been absent since the start of this month after a calf problem forced him off at half-time of the Gunners' 3-1 win over Liverpool. The return of Partey and Zinchenko would be a major boost for Arsenal, who have won their last 6 Premier League games in a row, to close the gap on leaders Liverpool to just 2 points. I don't look at the league table. That's great to know. Arteta has, however, been light on defensive options during that time for Saturday's win over Newcastle. Cedric Suarez was the only recognised defender on the bench. Crazy. Where's Tomiyasu as well? Seriously, Arsenal, where's Tomiyasu? Where's Tomiyasu? Since you came back from playing for Japan, I remember sitting here with you, I want to see him against West Ham, which in hindsight, we didn't need. We battered them. Where's Tomiyasu? What's going on with Tomiyasu, man? As much as I love Tomiyasu, Partey, Jesus, and Zinchenko, I am starting to get impatient with these injuries. I know it's part and parcel of the game. Arsenal have a clear week coming up due to their next match not being until they travel to Sheffield United on Monday, which will give the players more chance to return. The squad have been given Sunday and Monday off after playing Porto and Newcastle in the space of 4 days last week. Martinelli was one of those who felt the impact of the tight turnaround, and he played just over an hour on Saturday before coming off for Trossard. Arsenal will make a final decision on Partey and Zinchenko later this week after seeing how they progress. The Gunners have been cautious with Partey and carefully built up his workload due to the fact he has been out for the best part of 4 months. Arsenal were able to welcome back Jesus last weekend. The striker, who has been out since the end of last month, was an unused substitute. The Brazilian had been suffering with a flare-up of his knee. And it's a weird one because when he got injured, was it not against Nottingham Forest, or Arteta told us after? If you just saw Jesus play, you wouldn't have thought that. And it made me think, do you have to sometimes save these footballers from themselves? Because maybe they want to rush back. They've technically been signed off and there's issues. So I will give Arsenal that. And I do think in the last 2 years, especially with Saliba last year, which, well, he couldn't have done any worse than Rob Holding, even if he only had one leg. We've been very cautious in that regards, people. Apparently, David Raya has a banned XL bully to guard him, people. It's a bit annoying seeing a lot of, people's houses being robbed and things. So, yeah, big up David Raya. I didn't mean to speak about that, but it's there. João Paulinho is still being linked to Liverpool and Arsenal. Apparently, we're among the clubs to receive a boost in our pursuit of the Fulham star. Apparently, the Cottagers have opened the door to allowing the 28-year-old to depart. Was linked with Bayern Munich last summer. Is still linked with Bayern Munich as well as Arsenal. 28 years of age. He did sign a new deal in September until 2028 with a further 12 months. So it's a madness. Apparently they're seeking 50 to 60 million for Paulinho. And again, Bayern, Liverpool, Arsenal been name dropped, people. He's made 28 appearances so far for them. And, Fulham stand to make quite the profit in it on 20 million. I wouldn't say it'd be my first option, or I necessarily feel there's value for money there, but I'm having Paulinho, if I'm honest. And he loves doing something against Arsenal. I'm sure he scored. You defo scored at the Emirates, and I can't remember, but I'm sure you did something Fulham away against us. Newcastle and Aston Villa are still keen on Emil Smith-Rowe. The 23-year-old could be made available in the summer. He has got 2 years left on his deal, and he was linked with a move to West Ham in January. So where you look at him, he might be one that Arsenal might not want to sell, but 100% profit with FFP. Obviously, I wouldn't say you're damaged goods. You lot know me. I've been fighting Smith-Rowe's case, and if you go and watch my watch along, you could see how heartbroken I was when his shot was saved off the line against Newcastle. It seemed like there's an agenda against him because you lot couldn't defend for anything in that game, but you want to defend to stop my star boy, man. I hope that's not the case. Apparently, Mikel Arteta has reportedly added one European goalkeeper to his list of possible replacements for Ramsdale after losing his place to David Raya, who joined on a loan to buy from Brentford last summer. Ramsdale, 25, is thought to be unhappy with his demotion and could look to leave the Emirates at the end of the season. That's according to a recent report from Football Transfers, who claims the Gunners are preparing for the 25-year-old's possible exit and have identified Ajax Dian Ramal, forgive me, I tried, as the ideal long-term replacement, people. Allegedly, Arsenal have always liked him when he was at Eintracht Frankfurt. He's good on the ball, which is something Mikel Arteta certainly wants. He was also excellent at long balls to attackers and could be the perfect backup at Arsenal, assuming he wants to go and do that really and truly. Not only that, but if the Gunners can replace him with an equal, perhaps even better backup keeper in Ramal for a bargain price of 12.8 million, which is what the guy who wrote the article, believes Ajax will demand. Ajax will do this, but make sure you bring us Hato as well, really and truly. So we know we need a backup goalie. Barcelona are broke. They seem to be getting rid of players. We've once again been linked with previously we've been linked with Rafinha and Ferran Torres, and that's happened once again. Arsenal are reportedly interested in signing Barcelona attackers Ferran Torres and Rafinha in the summer, with Mikel Arteta an admirer of both stars. Boy, yeah, we have it really and truly. I mean, I would rather Rafinha of the two because Arteta wanted him and we tried to get him. But then again, not necessarily the player, but the versatility, I'd rather Ferran Torres. But yeah, I just think stay clear from both, really. Rafinha don't look that good on the left-hand side, which they flirted with at Barcelona. He's a right winger. And if you're not better than Bukayo Saka, there's no point of it, if I'm completely honest with you. So yeah, I'm not buying these rumors, people, really and truly. It's easy to link these. Look, we've had a previous interest. Barcelona are broke, but for what it's worth, according to HITC, the Gunners are eyeing up a raid of the Nou Camp, with Torres and Rafinha both on the radar. It's believed the La Liga giants are going to be open to offers for both men as a result of their current financial troubles. Rafinha is already a target of big sides such as Tottenham. So again, immediately, I don't believe this. Man said big sides and then put Spurs there, but Spurs are there. Man United, Chelsea, and apparently now Arsenal are keen on him as well. Arteta is also said to be an admirer of Torres and could therefore make attempts to sign both men in what would be an explosive deal. I don't think it makes sense to sign both. I think just about one. Like, would I be happy about Arsenal signing Rafinha and Ferran Torres? On one hand, yeah, it's depth and that, but it don't really fix stuff. Yeah, we got some depth, but there's neither player or a striker. Yet technically, you know, I'd back them to be suitable guys off the bench or in the squad more than Reece Nelson and Eddie Nketiah, with the greatest of respect to them. But it don't really make sense. They're going to be, not that I care, but they're going to be on big wages and a decent fee. It said Barcelona have informed the winger they will listen to offers for him just over 2 years after he made the move from Man City for approximately 55 million. Rafinha was around the same price, but with Barcelona looking to make quick money, the price tags of the pair might well have dropped and a double deal could therefore be possible. Both players have Premier League experience, and I remember just before Ferran Torres left Manchester City, he looked like he was finding form. But in my opinion, I was more impressed with Rafinha at Leeds, which, again, I'm going to be more impressed with an attacking player at Leeds than any attacking player at City, because Rafinha was a big fish in a small pond, with the greatest of respect. Xerxes has once again been linked with Arsenal. Dean Jones has said, I do think Xerxes, could become a potential target for the Premier League, and it wouldn't surprise me, to be honest, to see him land. He's made a really good switch this season, and it's helping him fulfill his potential. That was really important to him, because there was definitely a danger of him going down the wrong path in terms of fulfilling what he's capable of. He's really going to have to consider which Premier League club he would choose, because he doesn't want to be stuck on the bench at this stage. You've got to choose a club where you're going to be playing regularly. I would question whether that's going to be plausible for him at Old Trafford, and it might be that he looks for a club that are going deep in 3 or 4 competitions, but also with the potential to mix up the front line. Somewhere like Arsenal, we've seen that's probably more of a possibility than somewhere like Man United. Ivan Toney allegedly is still of interest to Arsenal, but it could come down to what the Bees are demanding. Based on their sporting director Thomas Frank and Ivan Toney's comments in the build-up to the summer, whatever they're seeking based on the headlines, you'd imagine the price comes down significantly. Arsenal firmly in the Oshimen race, while I am Man United striker target. We've gone over Ivan Ferguson and Oshimen, so we'll have to see exactly how these develop. I mean, we can begin the process of closing a bit of these. We've gone over that already, people. And we're going to have to find someone that fits Mikel Arteta's philosophy, somewhat accepting of being a number 2 goalie, but I would like them to be able to amicably push David Raya, because I do think, at least it's only for this year, but I think one thing I have liked is you've got David Raya and Ramsdale. Raya's clearly won, but both men, like if Ramsdale got a start or Raya got a start, both men know that there's someone hungry to take your place. There was a golfing class between Matt Turner and Ramsdale, and there's undoubtedly going to be a golfing class between whoever the backup goalie arrives in. Arsenal could get wonder kid more talented than Ronaldo, but face Man United battle. This is elite clickbait. Who's this? It's the same Don that we've been speaking about, the same Juventus lad. Fair enough, man. Fair enough. Make sure you're following on Twitter. I'm not going to lie, people. Look at the race. You know, 3 teams. We know, all right, you can exclude Newcastle, but we've got Sheffield United away. We should be wiping the floor with them. Brentford at home. Ivan told the audition, need to be winning that. Chelsea, don't forget where their form is and the fact they lost. They will be up for that. City, that's a 6-pointer. Luton at home, we should be winning that. Brighton away, regardless of Brighton's form, we haven't been moving too great. You know, that's a ground that scares us. Aston Villa on my birthday, you can't have April 13th story. Arsenal, don't do that to me on my birthday. That's all I'm going to say. Make sure you win that. Don't ruin my birthday. Wolves away is not easy. Spurs away goes either way. Bournemouth at home. Now that we should be winning that. But more time, the games we're most nervous of, we'll probably win them. And it's the ones you don't expect. I think people are really underestimating Man United second from last game of the season. Because of that, you know, United, I'm sure they'll be fighting for top 4, but they might be confirmed in that. Maybe a run of form scenes they've finished 4th. Maybe that's out of their hands. They've got nothing to do but ruin our day. And regardless of what you have to say about Manchester United, we do not travel well to Old Trafford. We don't. We haven't started. Recent history hasn't been kind to us against Spurs away or Man United away. 2 grounds I've literally seen my team win the league at. So, boy, you know, I'd say every game is important. But if we could get something from the City game, for me, if you beat Chelsea or serious, just based on we shot ourselves in the foot, do you know what? You need to get at least a draw for City for me. You need to beat Spurs. You need to finally end this Old Trafford hoodoo, if I'm honest. And hopefully Everton just allow us, if hopefully they stay in the league. But, hopefully, you know what? You'd like Man United to actually beat City. You've got a showdown between City and Liverpool. It's probably going to be a draw, but they've got to fight each other. In theory, I think City got the hardest. Like you could say Liverpool because they hardly have any fit players. I don't know when they're going to be back, but I would say City have the hardest fixture list. But then they've got the best team and the best manager and the guy. Like they're in this scenario all the time. Like this is them every year. Arsenal, we are in it now. We flirted with it last year. Liverpool historically, but if their players are not fit, they've got young, impressionable players. Liverpool actually have a game on Tuesday, so their squad is fully being counted. No player in Europe's top 5 leagues has scored more goals from set pieces this season than Gabriel with 4, pushing the agenda. Anyone still keen on Lautaro Martinez? The Argentine striker and the Inter Milan counterparts have been hopeful of a new deal, but ain't been signed yet. Allegedly, there's a gap between Inter and Lautaro Martinez regarding the Argentine's contract renewal with the Serie A side. I believe it's going to happen, but it'd be nice if we could throw a spanner in the works. We got money, man. Look what Kai Havertz is getting, Apparently, it's been reported about the situation of the Argentine striker, and they take stock of his potential renewal. As of now, the gap between the renewal on offer from Inter and the player's demands is 2 million. Inter have offered a deal worth 8 million per season, but the club strikers' demands stand at 10 million per season. Despite that, there's an intention to get the deal done and sign a contract with the extension to be done till the summer of 2028. So essentially a 4-year deal, maybe with an option. The agent of the striker has revealed that the gap does exist, but the relations are rather cordial, and there is willingness to do a deal despite the distance between the two parties. So yeah, he currently got 22 goals in 23 games. I would like a striker like that. Declan Rice has revealed that a couple of players have surprised him at the Emirates, people. Speaking to TNT after the victory on the weekend, he said, I can't speak highly enough of them. I'm not going to sit here and lie. I think Saliba is unbelievable. Obviously, I heard all the talk about him before I came here, and the one who's really surprised me is actually Gabriel. I mean, some of you called me a madman when I did that video months ago saying Gabriel's underrated. You saw the Odegaard comments, and now you're seeing the light. He's so aggressive, so strong, really wants it all the time, never loses a duel. When you've got 2 centre-backs like that who want it, play aggressive, it really helps and gives you confidence. And we've got you, Declan Rice, Bermuda Triangle. I've prayed for days like this, man. I've prayed for days like this. I have to say it, people. We used to have Pablo Mari and Rob Holding as our central midfielders. We had Unai Emery playing Mkhitaryan and Mesut Ozil, 2 number 10s or creative players as wing-backs. We've come a long way, really long way, man. But yeah, that's what Declan Rice has been saying. Is there anything else in relation to Arsenal that is of any significant note? Not really. I mean, I think everyone's tired of hearing about our striker links. Not really. We've heard about a potential Ramsdale replacement, strikers, etc. So I might as well see what you lot are saying, people. Whatever you said. They keep scoring 4 or 5 goals a game this season. To be fair, Arsenal after Christmas are scary. We have to ride that momentum. Fabio needs to cut in the summer. I'll still persist with Fabio, but certain offers, things will happen. He bought Kiri or use him to maximize the resources. 10 million for Nelson, I think so as well. If you're a Prem team and you're trying to sell, it's difficult. Most European clubs don't have money. Loan with buy options got to be the move. Daylight robbery if someone pays 30 million for Eddie, but I'm here for it. Eddie is worth 20 mil or 15 mil max. Just get the guy gone, man. Really. I like Eddie, but at the end of the day, it's peak now, man. It's where we're going. If Ramsdale and Tierney, 2 definitely more valued players, couldn't develop to stay in the system, you've got to go, man. We prayed for days like this, man. How many home games did Paul and City have? Unless I got rid of that tab. Oh, man, I should have seen that earlier. I think I got rid of it, essentially. Oh, no, I did not. No, I did not. Sorry, let me bring it back. Tab police almost mashed me up there. I couldn't even find it. But yeah, home. Who did you say? Liverpool at home, yeah? Oh, both of them. So City at home, sorry. They've got United at home, Arsenal at home, Aston Villa at home. So that's 3, 4 when you could say Luton, 5 when you say Wolves, and 6 on the last day of the season against West Ham. Hopefully David Moyes can do one. Liverpool have City at home, Brighton at home, Sheffield at home, so 3, Spurs at home 4, 5. And you know what? I mean, City are the best team, but if anyone's home form is going to scare me, it's going to be going to Anfield, really and truly. Arsenal, what is ours, man? We've got Newcastle at home, Brentford at home, Villa at home, Luton at home. So there's not really too much in it, if I'm completely honest with you lot. Make sure you're following on Twitter, people, as well. Where's that? It was linked with, yeah, there you go. Barcelona want to pay 40 million euros for Everton's Onana, but the English club wants more. The 60 million euros Everton asks for is considered an exaggerated amount by Barcelona. Arsenal and Man United have already shown their interest. We need Douglas Luiz and Pedro Neto next summer. Probably on ability, I like them, but like, well, they're saying 80 million for Pedro Neto, madness. So Douglas Luiz, what are they going to be saying? Everyone has played 26. We all have 6 home and 6 away left. So it's a shootout, man. It's a shootout. Out of the atmospheres, I think our home atmosphere is better than, obviously City are a better team than us, but our home atmosphere is that, you know, nobody really wants to go to Anfield. And it'd be a shame to not win the league, man. We finally beat City for once. We beat Liverpool well, we did it last year, but for once we beat both of them in the same year, taking 4 points off Liverpool. We had a little blip in December. I do think we need City to lose. No more draws, lose. I think we need Liverpool's injuries. God forbid, I don't wish people to get injured, but that needs to help us. And crucially, we need to do our job. If Oshimen doesn't play for United against us, then Arsenal win. He's picked up a knock as well. This is the worst time to get injured, man. Really and truly count 500. Oh my God. I wish I got paid every time I said it, man. Torres is a really good player, underrated. He's all right. He's all right. I mean, who wouldn't? I would like Frankie Gavi. Not really convinced on Koundé. Like him, though. But he always says, I want to play centre-half. You're not going to get that at Arsenal. João Felix, very good player, but left wanting more. I understand the Paulinho link. That one is experience and mentality. Not sure if he's good enough technically, though, but that's an experienced player. What 3 players in the Prem do you think deserve a level up to a bigger team in the Prem? Good question. I mean, I could cheat the game. Bowen. I think Bowen could be a squad player at a top 6 club. Respectfully to West Ham. Pedro Neto. Douglas Luiz. Boy, Cole Palmer. Like, Cole Palmer, Enzo Caicedo. I don't think you lot are bad players come to Arsenal, mate. Who else? I'm trying to think. I think Aaron Hickey of Brentford could get a move. Tony as well. Everton's Onana could do a bit better than relegation struggles. I think Barkley is showing me that, you know, if Luton go down, you could stay in the Prem. You know, it feels like, apart from this year, it feels like Barkley retired a long time ago. Yeah. Did you see the Sheffield United players fighting? Surprised that there were no cards issues. The cracks of potentially getting relegated, that's what's going to happen. And, you know, hopefully they're doing that when we rock up at their place. Theory, Arteta holding on to Partey and Tommy, especially as the next international break is in a couple of weeks. Whatever he needs to do to make sure Duns are fit, do what needs to be done. Kimmich is like Jorginho, but even better. Reminds me of Xavi at his very best. I can't say I share that with Kimmich, but he's a quality player and we'd all want him there. Would you resign Jorginho to a 2-year extension on top of the 1-year option? He's currently 32 now. Because let's be honest, you know, Jorginho, the one things I would say against him is he's a quality player, intelligent, very good mentality, keeps things ticking over. I think in the bigger games, he's one of the players I have a lot of confidence at. But Premier League is high demanding. It's like NBA is quick turnovers. If that happens in a game, it's peak for Jorginho, like against Spurs at the Emirates or like against Chelsea. And he does pick up injuries. Arteta always says it. You are concerned if he's able to stay fit and play 90 minutes and then another one. If anything, you know, 1-year extension for Jorginho. If we're sitting here this time next year and he continues that form to the end of the season, then yeah, you get another year. But I wouldn't do such, man. There's no way Tony's getting 100. I'm saying 40, 50 for Tony. If not, spend the bag elsewhere. Arsenal need to sign a goalkeeper. Already done that. Left back, right back, DMs. I wouldn't say all of that, but I hear that. Liao for left wing. Not really convinced with Liao, if I'm honest with you. I like him, but, you know, they're going to try and pull our pants down. It's 2 a.m. here. Got up, got work early today. Just dropped to say hello to you. Big up yourself, Oliver, man. You're part of the furniture. I think Arsenal should bring in Neto no matter what. I like him, but like 80 million with them injuries, it's crazy. It's absolutely crazy. Yeah, we can get a few good players, but we need 2 elite players in this squad. One of them a goal scorer and a mastermind in midfield, but ain't too many about that are available. So let's hope the club have done their scouting. Sheffield United away next. How many goals will we score? Being shameless, but I want 10. Do you know what? Listen, Arsenal there should be no fear. We should be running over there collecting 3 points, especially in this run. Crystal Palace form on the floor, took 3 points. Burnley not moving serious, took the 3 points. West Ham not moving serious, took the 3 points. Newcastle shaky, took the 3 points. Sheffield United, I don't want to see no blips. Go and get the 3 points. But at the same time, as we know, football, why we love it, shocks can happen. You know, we're getting into that period now where the relegation threatened sides, they might still go down, but they might pull off these freak results, especially against the teams fighting for the league. So we cannot be complacent, despite we should be rocking up there and winning, essentially. Obviously, it comes down to pride, man. It comes down to pride. Like they've been getting their ass kicked week in, week out. People are fighting each other. If you're not going to stay in the league, like you're going to look at this big bad Arsenal with spoiled kids and spoiled brats with a great manager, you're not going to make it easy. And it's obviously the nighttime fixture and all of that jazz. But we should be smashing them up, man. Absolutely smashing them up. We lost to Porto. It happens, mate. No, injuries ain't that bad, but he does pick up consistent knocks. I must admit, is it Gaio Queiroz? He does look quite convincing at Sporting, man. I weren't really feeling that at first. He does look all right, man, but I don't know if it's if you're here to stay or is it a purple patch. Gallagher should be at Forest or Brentford, teams like that. I like Gallagher. I don't think he's bad, but you shouldn't, you know, the fact that Gallagher is in goal scoring positions and missing, he should be able to improve his finishing, but I think it says a lot about Chelsea, man. I wouldn't say he's crap. Extremely frustrating. In reality, we need to beat Brentford, Chelsea, Luton, Bournemouth, and Everton at home to be up there. Also, Brighton, Wolves, and Sheffield United away must-win games for me. There's no margin for error. I think we need to. Honestly, I think the only game that I think we can drop points is City. So it does feel a bit like Mission Impossible, man. We'd all love Jude Bellingham, but the dream is free. The hustle is sold separately, man. We'd all love such, man. Matoma hype gone very quiet, man. Everybody read his dissertation about how about how wingers should play. They found him out. Yeah, and I mean, it shows what happens when you do your scouting, man, because Sporting are going to make stupid money on him. Sorry. Everton got 4 points back, even though I think they'll stay up. What do you think about Everton's relegation chances? Everybody's in the mix. And obviously, like you said there, I did see that on The Athletic. That's a new spring in their step because obviously, every point matters when you're fighting to stay in the division. But if I look at the table now, I don't know. The relegation zone is crazy. Every year, I think we all do it, including myself. There's a team that looks nailed to go down. Bournemouth looked nailed to go down. They stayed up. At one point, Luton, it looked like a formality that you was going down. They might still go down, but it looks smash the like button. It looks like they might be able to stay up. Sheffield United, boy, you lot are gone. You're gone, really. I think Everton will be fine, man. I think Everton will be fine because Sean Dyche knows how to just pattern something, really. They got 25 points. You know what? I thought even Palace could get dragged into that with their 28 points. Is what? Sheffield United at bottom, 13 points. That's crazy. 13 points and what is that? 3 wins. Sorry, Sheffield United fans, but 3 wins in 26 games. You got to big up the fans traveling up and down the country, man. Like if Arsenal's playing like that and I was going to games week in, week out, you might as well just get drunk. There's no point enjoying the football because, boy, it's just vibes. Sheffield United are gone, in my opinion. I think Burnley, now that I've said that, Burnley might stay up. I think Burnley are a bit too naive with how company sets them up to stay into the division. They've got 13 points, so I think they're gone. And then, I don't know, man, Luton could go down, but anything from 13th place, Crystal Palace, all the way down to, Luton, it's a bit brazy, really. Like, what? There's only 8 points that separates Crystal Palace with 28 points in 13th. To Luton with 20. Now, things can happen. We've got, 12 or so games left. My maths is poor. The margins for error are getting bigger. And to be fair with you, even Burnley, like if they were to take points off Bournemouth, it's a double header. Luton got Aston Villa next. I don't know how that goes. And obviously, Sheffield United got us, so it's at the wrong time. A lot is riding on the next 5 City fixtures. Liverpool and City on 3 out of 10 is a huge matchup. Boy, Portuguese clubs doing their thing, man. The Porto loss concerns me a lot. I felt the same after the West Ham and Fulham fixtures. Against West Ham, we lost, but I wasn't that concerned because we were the better side. But Fulham made me worried because we played badly. Same now with Porto. I would say I don't think we played poorly against Porto. It was underwhelming. We did show a lack of change in our tactics, and I think they showed a golfing class between the street smartness, of Porto and Arsenal, and it shows us that we can improve on. So I guess you're right. Who do you think will win the league? Define winning the league in many ways. Whoever wins the Premier League is winning the Premier. It wins it and whatnot. Whoever's top of it. But at the same time, seeing your team and your manager and your players improve and seeing the atmosphere at your stadium improve, that could be defined as winning the league. So it's a very simple yet complex question, and it's one that I can't really answer. We're just going to have to see how it plays out. I don't look at the league table, so I don't really know. Of course, being an Arsenal fan, if we were to win that, if we were in the title debate, it would be nice to bring that home. That's the PR answer. Who's a free agent in the summer? Not a clue, man. Every year seems like there's a crazy talent from the top 3 Portuguese leagues. Portuguese leagues know exactly what they're doing. Trossard ain't suited for every game up front. We needed Jesus against Porto. I'm not going to lie, against Porto, we needed... I mean, when Jorginho came on, he was rubbish, but I think we needed Jorginho in hindsight. We definitely could have done with Partey and Zinchenko in terms of giving us a bit on the ball. Definitely agree with the Jesus stuff. Jesus a different animal. Nah, man. Apparently, Partey and Zinchenko are back for the Sheffield United game, but I take that with a massive grain of salt. How will Arteta put Partey in the team, and would you bring back Zinni for Kirill? It depends on how, it depends on how they develop this week. I think Kirill should keep his spot in the team because he's playing well. And I know Sheffield United in theory shouldn't ask us a damn question in an attacking sense, but away from home, Zinchenko never really convinces me, man. I'd like Luton to stay up. They've given it a go and not been like we're only Luton and felt imposter syndrome. I mean, even if Luton go, one thing that can it's not really going to help their fans, but they've got one of the most difficult away games. We won there, they didn't make it easy. United, it weren't easy. There's been a couple, I'm sure City weren't easy. This season, Luton is one of the toughest away grounds to go to, man. I think we need to utilize Jorginho more in the Champions League to dictate play in midfield, decide between Trossard and Havertz, depending on the opposition. For me, the Champions League comes down to moments. Don't get it twisted. The tactics, all of these things are vital, but it comes down to moments, or European football comes down to moments. And I think that was the case when we've gone out to Sporting. I think that's the case of our defeat to Porto. I think for all of Real Madrid's quality, them winning the Champions League has been defined by moments, essentially. And I think you need that street smartness and that stardust. Do you think this Arsenal is similar to Spurs in that 2-year period? Nope. I saw Spurs next to it end that when therefore not like that. We won a trophy in this period under Arteta. Allow it. Champions League, it's more of a chess match, really, if I'm honest. Like Porto was the one time I think we played in the Champions League where they've intentionally tried to just stink the place out. Kirio's done such a good job. I don't even want to see Zinni unless we're playing ish teams, and Ben White knows this as well. Arsenal looking fluid. That Champions League was us being too careful, naive to the Champions League pressure. I think there was a bit of nerves, but I think it was just we couldn't, we've got a good plan B, and obviously Arteta has shown 1-2 elements of changing things up, but we don't have anything that we had no answers to react to what was happening in the Porto game. The ref is one thing, their approach is one thing. Obviously, Benjamin White's inverting. Saka's got no overlaps and he's dropping deep. Respectfully to Kirill and Kai Havertz, it's like playing with 9 men at times because they haven't got that much about them on the ball in terms of build-up play. And we're still remaining, which I like from Arteta to a degree. We're still playing the same way. So, yeah, man. Does Arteta's home record in Europe concern you? Arteta's record in European football in general concerns me. A bit like how we've been performing in the FA Cup since winning it, man. Davies to Madrid and Florentino was wanting a Super League. Why do you need it with that lineup? Money, man. Like, let's be honest. The best thing that can happen to La Liga is what Real Madrid is doing now with Mbappe and maybe Haaland one day. But Barcelona, nobody cares. Big up La Liga because I watch it and stuff, but nobody cares about the bigger teams. Does anybody really care about Real Madrid? And I'm being ignorant, but does anyone care about Atletico versus Real Madrid, about Barcelona versus Real Madrid? Of course, the football fan, the purist in us, yes. But if you miss these games, it's not the end of the world. You go back a few years ago, you could have missed, no matter what team you supported, you could not miss El Clasico. Now you watch the highlights, you're good. Barcelona versus Real Madrid, there's a gulf in class. Only God knows how Barcelona won the league under Xavi. Maybe that was part of it. And to be fair, Girona is providing a talking point, but we all know the Premier League is getting richer. The other teams are not. That's why they want that, And I know Zanolio ended up going to Aston Villa, but he was linked with Bournemouth and AC Milan. And I saw an article on Sky Sports, and it said Bournemouth are going toe to toe with AC Milan for a player. That's crazy. Like, whether he picks it is another thing, but they've got the finances to go toe to toe. Look how rich the Premier's getting. Like, Brighton probably got more money than Barcelona. DG, what should Kirill do to convince you about his competence? I do feel his passing is much more convincing and decisive. I do think he's competent. You just now I always say the 3 C's. You was missing confidence. You look confident now. I ask for consistency. I'm seeing some consistency. I ask for competence. You're showing it. It's just a thing where I just believe you're a squad player, really. That's the maddest thing. AC Milan could not afford Zanolio. And he went to Aston Villa with the greatest respect. I mean, Zinchenko in midfield, it could be something to run, but there has to be a reason as to why Mikel Arteta has not organically started Zinchenko in midfield in an Arsenal shirt. I'd hate to draw Atletico on the champs if we go through, but nobody would like to do that. You know what time it is at their place. Zini is too slow to play left back. He can just about keep up. But very harsh. And to be fair, pardon me, whether it's very harsh because he's done it at Arsenal and he's doing all right, and he's done it at City. Very harsh. Money's destroyed football. I don't care what people are saying. Money destroys everything, really and truly. I don't think it's destroyed football in those worlds. It's destroyed it to the fans because fans are priced out. You look at TV right packages, actual season ticket prices, the way they move the goalposts with any club that has season tickets, ballots to get tickets. You know, we all know if Arsenal get to a final, not that many real cool, hardcore fans are going. It's bare sponsors, bare friends of friends. The game's mad. It's mad. And we're going to be in a day and age, North London derby, Manchester derby, and football's universal. It's going to be played in another part of the world, but it's not going to be done under the premise of there's football fans that love the game all over the world. It's a money thing. As a left field shout for the summer signing, what about Hang from Wolves? I think he could push our starters and is an upgrade on the likes of Eddie and Nelson. Wouldn't be against him in the squad. Think it's a myth, though. Not going to lie, Douglas Luiz or Zubamendi if you had to pick one. I've gone too far to turn back with the Zubamendi hype, so I'm going with Zubamendi, but I am a big fan of Douglas Luiz. If I'm Mbappe, I'm coming Prem for Haaland. Battle it would take the Prem to another level. Everyone in the world would tune in, but his dream's Real Madrid, isn't it? So like, he don't really care about that, if I'm completely honest with you. But yeah, on that note, though, people, it's been fantastic. We've been here for just over an hour. My belly's talking. It's time to have a late lunch. I appreciate you lot's talking points, difference of opinions, questions, etc., etc. Make sure you turn on your notification bells and make sure you're following on socials because it seems that YouTube are not giving you alerts, and also Twitch. I hope Monday started off blessed. I hope we've been entertained. Peace.
Like